this is Christy Falk with createwithchristy.blogspot.com. It's a cute little Santa box. When you open it up, you take the little belly band, which is his belt off, open it up from the middle, and it's perfect size for a gift card or any other little gift you might have. And then just close back up again. Okay, and it comes together pretty quick. So what you need is a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of real red cardstock, a piece of 1 inch by 11 inch piece of basic black cardstock, 2 whisper white pieces measuring 4 1/2 by 3 1/4, and you need a 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 inch piece of gold glimmer paper and a 1 inch by 1 inch piece of basic black cardstock. You also need your Simply Scored scoring tool, paper snips, bone folder, fast fuse adhesive, and tear and tape adhesive. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get all the scoring done first off. So what we're going to do, you want to take the 4 1/2 inch side and have it along the top, and you're going to score at 3 1/4 inch and at 3 1/2 inches. You're going to rotate a quarter turn, so the 11 inch side is along the top. Then you can just score at 2 1/2, 3 1/4, 7 3/4, and 8 1/2. Then you want to take the big long basic black piece with 11 inch side along the top. You're going to score this piece at 2 1/4, 3 inches, 7 1/2 inches, and 8 1/4 inches. And then the last 2 pieces that need scored are the whisper white, and with a 4 1/2 inch side along the top, you're going to score it at 7 1/8 inches and 3 5/8. So do the second one the same way, 7 1/8 and 3 1/2. I'm sorry, 3 5/8. Okay, that's all the scoring we need to do. Now bring the real red piece back in. If you look closely, you can see little squares on each side. And what I'm going to do is take my paper snips and cut along the score line on each side of those squares and stop at the intersecting horizontal line. I'm going to do that with all 4. And just for time, I'm going to just do one at a time. Then I want to make this a little narrower. I found when you just do a square tab that sometimes the side ends up sticking up when you put the box together, and we don't want that to happen. So the way to have that not happen is you're going to come in a little bit, maybe about 1/8 of an inch in, and cut from there to the corner where these intersecting lines intersect, and pull that off. So what you're doing, you're making the end of the tab narrower than the base of the tab. There we go. So that's what you want your tabs to look like. Then you're going to take a piece of tear and tape adhesive, and starting from about the score line, go down to the end and tear. And you're going to need to do that on each tab. So when you're all done making your tabs, this is what it's going to look like. Now we want to take one of the white pieces, turn it over so that the score lines, it's hard to see in the video, but the score lines you want where it looks like a mountain. I'm going to take my fast fuse adhesive, make sure you cover the 2 end sections of the white piece with the fast fuse. Because this is this part that might come off a little easier, and then I just put a strip across the middle. Now, you can see the score lines here. I want them to line up with the score lines in the red cardstock, and I also want this edge up against the end of this real red edge. So lining up the score line and the edge, and doing the same down here. Okay. Get some of that adhesive I got on there. Okay, now we're going to turn this over, and I want to burnish all of the score lines. What that does, it makes the score lines a lot easier to fold when you go to put the box together. So hurry up and get all of these scored, and I'm going to use my bone folder because that gives me a deeper crease. And I'll do all the vertical ones. Oh. Okay, now that I've got that done, that's going to make it a lot easier when I go to put this together. So what I'm going to do is bring this tab up, take the paper backing off the adhesive, and then I'm going to attach this to the back of this section here. So when I go to fold it up, I want to line the edge of this piece with the score line in the tab. If those are lined up, then the box side is going to be straight up and down. So I'm going to do that with all 4 tabs. Fold it, line up the score line and the edge of the cardstock. 2 more. And see, having them already burnished makes the folding go so much easier. There have been times I've forgotten that, and it makes it a whole lot harder when putting it together. Okay, get that back there. Okay, now the base of the box is done. Now one thing you noticed, I made this white end a little bit longer than the width of the red. I do that because when you fold it, sometimes this ends up getting shorter, and then you'll have a little red border on the end of your white, and you don't want that. So I always make them about a ½ inch, ¼ inch longer. Then I'm just going to cut these off where they hang over. And that makes it so it's a perfect length. I don't have to worry about having red borders on each end. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put this together. You want to fold the side without the white strip first, and you tuck in the ends inside the box. Tuck these sides in, and they're actually going to wrap around this first flap that you just folded down. And that's closed. Okay, now I want to have a white strip going across because I want him to have this fur lining all the way around. Okay, now I'm going to take the second piece, whisper white piece. Make sure the the score lines are like mountains. I'm going to put fast fused adhesive on each end and across the middle again. Now, I'm going to line the score line with the fold down here and also line the edges with the edges here of this white piece. That way they line up. And it is very important to make sure that score line is right there on that fold. Because once again, I've got this a little longer than it needs to be. Bring it around. Make sure it's lined up with that white end. Push it down. And then you're going to need to open this up again to trim these edges. So I will trim this edge off. And this edge off. Now the box part is all done. So set that to the side for right now. Now I'm going to take my long piece. This is going to be the belly band. And then I also want to get my gold glimmer piece and my square. I'm going to put some fast fuse adhesive on the back of this. I want to cover it pretty generously because sometimes the glimmer paper has trouble sticking on that. Fast fuse works very well. That's why I'm using it instead of snail. Okay, and that's right in the center. Now, this is the reason I do this. It gives an illusion of the belt actually going through the buckle. So I'm going to put adhesive across the middle here. You don't want to put it on the ends because it's going to be hanging over the top and bottom of the belt. And I want to get it centered between these 2 score lines, and I want to line up the top edge and bottom edge of the square with the top and bottom edge of the belt. Okay, that looks pretty good. That's ready. I'm going to turn this over and put a piece of tear and tape adhesive here on the end. I'll go all the way across. Bring my box back in. And I want the belt to go across the top. And I'm just going to fold all these around. And then when I get a snug fit, I'm going to remove the paper backing from the adhesive. Line it up. And there you go. Just kind of push it down. And it's done. And that's it. This is perfect for all your gift cards. If you want to make the gift a little extra special, they'll just love this little box. And if you'd like a written tutorial on how to make this, I've got it included on my blog for this post. And if you're watching this on YouTube, just go to the description of the video and you'll find the link to that post there. Thanks for watching.